Randy, finish up your point.
Yeah, I'm still with you, Alex. Yeah, the point is, it looks like they're going to be reversing the Louisiana economy now. They're going to be taking a lot of our deep-sea drilling now, and they're going to be putting it off the coast of California. So that's going to put Louisiana people out of work. But, again, we was talking about, the well coming in and everything and how everything was real, weird how it came in, and that's true. And I'm sure the drilling contractor, you said the guys on the rig was just, raising Cain about, are you happy the well came in? All these guys are trained in well control. When, these drilling contractors, they take their personnel, they train them in well control, they show them how to control a well, every aspect of drilling a well. And these guys...
Yeah, but I've seen little oil wells being drilled in East Texas, and there's engineers and trucks and hundreds of people running around. And so, there's engineers on site for small gas wells.
Well, the thing of it is, Alex, they knew this well was taking a kick because some of the tests they did, they had indications they was getting gas back. Well, if they had pipe in the hole, what you want to do is you want to circulate some heavier mud down that hole, vent that gas off, but you keep control of the well. And from what it looks like to me, they was trying to cement this well, whether they was doing a squeeze job, they was either squeezing some casing, but anyway, they was trying to put cement into a contaminated situation. Cement don't harden, and it don't do its job whenever it's contaminated with gas and oil. So evidently, and whatever idiot decided to displace the drilling mud out the riser and just go ahead and try to get off the well or whatever they was trying to do, he let the well come in. You was probably replacing 16 or 20-pound drill mud. Now, what I'm talking about is a gallon of drill mud weighing about 16 to 20 pounds, replacing it with seawater that probably weighs about 9. Well, guess what?
No, that's what I was going to say. No, this is in the Coast Guard testimony that they said if you don't water it, it's going to explode and cause a fire. The well is going to come in, and BP from Houston, they won't say who it was, said you will dump water in now. Stay briefly, Randy, then we're going to go read Robert, Sam, Ronnie, but this is important. No, I have the Coast Guard testimony. Anybody can go read it. This is what the court found. Randy, finishing up the points you were making, yes, the Coast Guard hearing with the witnesses find that the entire rig was very angry for a month. 2 weeks before, they knew there were cracks, they knew there were problems, and that they were on record saying it's guaranteed you're going to have this well come in and you're going to have a fire. And then once it happened, they saw all the different leaders of the three companies on their satellite phones saying, are you happy? You've now done it. So bottom line, BP should be criminally negligent for doing this. And the question is, why does the media continue? And why do the police continue? Why does the Coast Guard continue to say BP is in charge? Go ahead.
I don't get it, Alex. And this is a plea to my governor, Governor Jindal. Please step up to the plate and get involved with this, and don't let the feds control this. Don't let BP control this. You're talking about our livelihood, our coasts. This devastates us in every way. You got so many people across Louisiana that love to go red fishing, speckled trout fishing. You got shrimpers out here that their livelihood, depends on it. That BP exec, I heard one of them said that there's other parts of the world that he can get shrimp. Well, that BP exec that said that, yeah, he still has a paycheck and everything, but our Louisiana shrimpers are just trying to get by from week to week, month to month.
Well, my question is, what is Jindal doing in Louisiana other than complaining? What is Haley Barbour doing in Mississippi? Yeah, they complain. They've got the authority under the 9th and 10th Amendment to protect themselves, just like Arizona does from open borders and crime. They've got a right to go out there and stop that oil. What business does the federal government have having armed Coast Guard who are meant to protect us from foreign powers telling us we can't protect our industries?
Well, that's exactly right. And Governor Jindal got to remember, that's the whole reason he was elected in this last election, because he wasn't supposed to follow the status quo, that he was going to do things different for Louisiana, cut the corruption, different things like that. He ran on that type of platform. And they need to step up to the plate and just start taking charge, because they could have contained this thing from the beginning. Yeah,
I'll guarantee you if the governor went out there with ships and told the Coast Guard to back off, Obama would back off. There's no way he could win that PR fight. But they won't do it because it's all inside baseball. But going back to this Coast Guard report, it's been out for 2 weeks now, where they talk about dumping water in. Briefly, because I need to get to other calls, and I appreciate your time. Briefly, what is concrete used for versus mud versus seawater? And why were they so mad on the rig when they said we're going to use seawater? I mean, the court hearing says that wouldn't hold the pressure down and then it would explode. But, I mean, elaborate on that.
Well, it sounds like the BP or whatever, the engineers wanted to put seawater into the well bore before they had total control of the well. Evidently, I don't know if they had drill pipe in the well, because, I mean, I don't know anybody that was on the rig, and I could have found this out, but evidently they was doing maybe a cement job and cementing a string of casing or something, or they was trying to plug the top of the well so they could move off a location. But whatever scenario they was doing, you need to have total control of that well and not have gas and oil in the well bore to contaminate your cement job. And what they do is, if they was moving the rig off the well, if they was done drilling and they was ready to move, and a workover rig was going to come back and put tubing to bring the well in, then that's possible. What they was doing was a cement job to plug the well so they could move everything.
No, that's admitted. They were doing a cement job and then, quote, stopped using mud, and they ordered water be injected, but it wasn't engineers. In the record, it's engineers saying, I don't want to do this. It was BP in Houston telling them what to do.
Well, it was insane, because if they was getting a kick with gas, and they knew they was getting gas, they knew dang good and well that cement job wasn't going to hold, because it was getting contaminated with gas and oil. So it wasn't going to set in place. So what they do is, when they're ready to move off a location, you put a plug inside the casing, you plug the well to where it holds the pressure back underneath the plug, then you put a layer of cement on top of these. Sometimes you may put a couple of plugs. You may put a couple of plugs depending on what your downhole pressures were to be able to contain this well. And once this well is contained and is shut in and is cemented, then you can get off the riser pipe that's going all the way to the seafloor. You can even take the BOPs off. And what I'm understanding, they had defective BOPs. They should have did this a long time ago, was put a cement plug down there and get those defective BOPs off of there and put a good set of BOPs that didn't have leaks. And because from what I understand, at some point in time, they were circulating rubber bits up, like, little bits of rubber. Well, that tells them that's the seals. That's the seals inside the BOPs. They were circulating back up over the
Well, no, that's the word in the Coast Guard hearings, is that there were engineers, helicopters, repair ships just buzzing around that rig when it blew up, because the orders they'd been given had already screwed it up, and it was leaking. We'll come back with more calls. Stay with us. This is Key Info straight ahead. Rita in Illinois. Thank you for joining us, Rita. What's on your mind today?
Hi, Alex. Well, you mentioned a little bit of what I was calling about. And then, first of all, before I say what I want to say, is that, 1941, there's a video out there on YouTube. It's called Rudolph Diesel and Henry Ford Against Petroleum. He made a hemp car that ran on hemp in 1941. Was almost indestructible. The video's out there. But, the Coast Guard turns back these barges. Or else what? And you know what? Let's see if they got the stones to open up on those barges. It's time to either be mice or men, clean the oil up. They're going to die one way or the other. They're going to die from the carcinogens and the poisons. Enough animals are dead. Let's see if the Coast Guard can open fire on those people.
But notice these lawyers with 9/11 and the deadly dust, or with the deadly carcinogens that the EPA admits everybody's breathing, even inland. And BP and the feds say, no, there's no problem. You're not allowed to wear respirators. They love killing you slow. They love something they can lawyer and deny later and abscond and twist and confuse. I just hate to see the Coast Guard put in this position. But the Coast Guard shouldn't follow those orders. I mean, if they're told by the Obama people and the BP people, hey, we want this to be as bad as it can be, obviously, they're not telling them that, but that's the main reason. We want to get our carbon tax through. It's a diversion from the economy. It's a diversion from our preparations with war, with Iran. They just shouldn't follow those orders to go up and stop local communities out there cleaning up the oil themselves. This just shows how we have no freedom in this country. Anything else, Rita?
Well, didn't you say he who fires first loses? Make them fire first, because you know what? These people are just going to clean up the oil. Enough dead animals already. Enough dead and
Well, I know what the feds will do. They won't fire. They'll wait till the boats land, and then they'll arrest the people. and tell them you're going to go to jail for 20 years if you don't plead guilty. But it just, look, the government wants us as prisoners. Everything has to be okayed by them. We are the opposite of what America was founded to be. This is cancer. We have to get rid of this out-of-control federal government. It is not run by the federal government. It is run by offshore interests that have gotten away with murder, who've committed millions of different types of crimes over and over again. And so they've said, hey, let's just go for broke. We have to realize the stakes here. We have an enemy that knows no limit, that is completely naked in their over-the-top corruption. I appreciate your call.